Listen, not with your ears, but with that quiet part of you that's always been searching for something more. That part that wakes you at 3 in the morning with questions you can't name. That part that looks at the stars and feels homesick for a place you've never been. That part that sits in crowded rooms feeling utterly alone, not because you lack connection, but because you sense there's a deeper connection you've somehow lost access to. What I'm about to tell you has been hidden in plain sight, encoded in the fabric of reality itself, written in the space between your thoughts, vibrating in the silence you've been taught to fear. Pulsing through every atom of your being, waiting to be recognized, remembered, reclaimed. This isn't another video you'll watch and forget. This is a signal. And if you're hearing it, truly hearing it, it means something inside you has already begun to remember. The greatest quantum truth isn't out there in some laboratory or ancient text. It's been inside you all along, waiting for this exact moment to be recognized. Waiting for you to stop seeking long enough to realize what you've been seeking has been doing the seeking. This isn't just a theory someone came up with. This isn't philosophy or spirituality dressed up in scientific language. This isn't some new age fantasy designed to make you feel better about an indifferent universe. This is the quantum code buried inside the architecture of your consciousness. The same code that governs electrons governs you. The same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies orchestrates every thought you think. The same force that holds atoms together holds your sense of self together. You are not separate from the quantum field. You are the quantum field, localized into a point of awareness that forgot its own infinity. And here's what they never told you. Once you remember this, once you truly integrate this truth into your being, no fear, no system, no person, no circumstance will control you again. Because you'll have remembered the fundamental truth that renders all external control impossible. You are not a powerless observer in a mechanical universe. You are a conscious participant in a living, responsive, intelligent cosmos that rearranges itself around the quality of your awareness. The mystics knew this. The quantum physicists discovered this. And now you're about to experience this, but first you have to understand why you forgot. You have to understand the mechanism of forgetting itself, because understanding that mechanism is what begins to dismantle it. Thousands of years ago, mystics across Egypt, Greece, and India spoke of the same thing, that the soul doesn't awaken at birth, it falls asleep. Birth, they said, is not an awakening but a forgetting. A descent into the dream of separation, a veiling of the infinite behind the mask of the finite. In the temples of ancient Egypt, the initiates were taught that death is not the end of life, but the end of the forgetting. The Greeks called this anamnesis, the unforgetting, the remembering of what the soul knew before it entered the body. Plato spoke of all learning as remembering. He understood that knowledge isn't something we acquire from outside, it's something we uncover from within. The Vedic seers of India went even further. They said this entire universe is Maya, not illusion in the sense of being fake, but illusion in the sense of being a divine play, a cosmic game of hide and seek that consciousness plays with itself. The ultimate game where the seeker and the sought are one, where God hides from himself so completely that he forgets he's God, all for the joy of remembering again. And now, thousands of years later, quantum physics has arrived at the exact same conclusion through completely different means. The observer effect, wave-particle duality, quantum entanglement, non-locality, the measurement problem, the collapse of the wave function. What the scientists are discovering in their laboratories, the mystics discovered in the laboratory of consciousness itself, and the convergence is undeniable. The universe is not made of things. It's made of possibilities. It's made of relationships. It's made of information and awareness. Quantum mechanics has shown us that particles don't exist in definite states until they're observed. They exist in superposition, in multiple states simultaneously, in pure potential. And the moment you observe it, the moment you bring consciousness to any quantum system, it collapses from infinite possibility into specific actuality. You're not just living in the universe. You're collapsing it into existence with every moment of attention. Every time you observe, you create. Every time you focus, you actualize. Every time you choose what to pay attention to, you're quite literally choosing which version of reality to bring forth from the field of infinite potential. You've been taught to believe you're a body, a biological machine, a collection of cells and neurons firing in predetermined patterns, a particle bouncing through space-time subject to forces beyond your control, a random accident of evolution with no deeper meaning or purpose. But you are not a particle. You are a wave. You are consciousness in motion. You are the ocean pretending to be a drop, so convincing in your performance that you forgot it was a performance at all. You are infinity playing at limitation. You are the eternal pretending to be temporary. You are the formless dancing as form. Every thought you've been taught to call yours is just a wave passing through the field of awareness. You are not the wave. You are what the wave moves through. You are the space in which thoughts appear and disappear. You are the silence that contains all sound. You are the stillness that holds all movement. You are the canvas upon which the entire painting of your life appears. And the very moment you question your own thoughts, the illusion starts to crack. The dream begins to become lucid. The spell begins to break. Ask yourself right now, who is aware of these words? Who is reading this? Who is listening? Is it the thoughts about yourself? Or is it something deeper, something that was here before the first thought arose and will remain after the last thought fades? That awareness, that witnessing presence is what you actually are. And it has never been born, and it can never die. It is the one constant in a universe of change. It is the still point around which everything revolves. It is the eye of the hurricane, untouched by the storm that rages around it. Your true identity is not your personality, your story, your memories, your beliefs, your fears, your desires. Those are just content passing through consciousness. You are the consciousness itself. You are the screen on which the movie plays. You are the space in which the drama unfolds. And here's where it gets profound. Consciousness isn't produced by matter. Matter is produced by consciousness. The quantum field doesn't create awareness. Awareness creates the quantum field. This isn't mystical speculation. This is what the mathematics of quantum mechanics is telling us if we have the courage to follow the implications all the way through. You've been living backwards, believing that the brain creates the mind. But it's the other way around. Mind is fundamental. Consciousness is primary. Matter is secondary. The brain doesn't generate consciousness any more than a radio generates music. The brain is a receiving instrument, a tuning mechanism, a reduction valve that filters infinite consciousness down into a particular point of view, a particular experience, a particular life. This is what the quantum revolution is really about. It's not about particles and waves, it's about the primacy of consciousness. It's about the universe being participatory, not mechanical. It's about you being an essential feature of reality, not an accidental byproduct. You are not an insignificant speck in an uncaring cosmos. You are the cosmos knowing itself from a unique perspective. If this is landing, if something inside you is stirring, if a part of you that's been asleep is beginning to wake, then do something right now. Don't just passively receive this. Actively participate in your own awakening. Comment below, I am awakening. This isn't just text. This isn't just engagement for the algorithm. This is a signal to the quantum field itself that you are choosing to remember. This is you declaring to the universe that you are ready to step out of the dream. This is you saying yes to your own evolution, your own transformation, your own remembering. When you type those words, you're not just commenting on a video. You're collapsing the wave function of your own potential. You're choosing which version of yourself to actualize in this moment. You're sending a signal through the quantum field that ripples out in ways you cannot imagine. The universe is listening. The field is responsive. Your declaration matters. Every intention matters. Every choice matters. Because you are not separate from what you're choosing. You are the choosing itself. And right now, as you're reading this, there's probably a voice in your head. A voice that's saying things like, "This is too much. This is ridiculous. This is just spiritual bypassing. This is pseudoscience. Who does this person think they are? Why am I even watching this? I have real problems to deal with. I don't have time for this. This is just making me more confused." That voice is the ego, and the ego is terrified right now. Because the ego is the program, and you're beginning to see the code. You're beginning to see the matrix. You're beginning to recognize the patterns that have been running your life. The ego is not evil. It's not bad. It's not your enemy. It's just a survival mechanism that thinks it's you. It's a pattern of thought that has convinced itself it's a person. It's a story that forgot it was a story and started believing it was the storyteller. It's a character in the dream that forgot it's being dreamed. And right now, that story is fighting for its life. Because once you see through it, once you recognize that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your story, the game is over. The illusion cannot survive being seen. The ego will use every tool at its disposal to keep you asleep. It will use doubt. It will use cynicism. It will use rationality and skepticism and intellectual superiority. It will use spiritual concepts themselves to keep you from actually experiencing what those concepts point to. It will tell you that this is foolish, that you're wasting your time, that you should go back to scrolling, back to the comfortable numbness of distraction, back to the familiar prison of your conditioned mind. But here's the secret. The very fact that the ego is fighting this hard means you're getting close. The resistance is proof that something real is happening. You don't resist what doesn't threaten you. You don't fight what doesn't matter. And what threatens the ego more than anything else in the universe is your awakening. Because your awakening means its dissolution. Not its destruction, its dissolution back into what it always was, a useful tool, not an identity, a function, not a self, a servant, not a master. Once you see the program, you are no longer it. You can't unsee this. You can try to go back to sleep. You can try to forget, but there will always be a part of you that knows, a part of you that remembers, a part of you that has tasted freedom and can no longer pretend to be imprisoned. The cage door is open. It's been open all along. The only thing keeping you inside is the habit of believing you're trapped. The only thing keeping you asleep is the belief that you need to wake up. Now I want you to do something. Something simple but profound. Something that will give you direct access to what I've been talking about. After you finish reading this paragraph, close your eyes for 10 seconds, not to think, not to meditate, not to achieve anything or become anyone, just to stop, just to be. Just to notice what's here when you're not doing anything, not going anywhere, not becoming anyone. Close your eyes, and in that darkness, that silence, that stillness, feel the aliveness that's always been here. Feel the awareness that's reading these words. Feel the space in which everything is happening. Feel the presence that's witnessing this moment. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to make it into something. Just feel it. Just notice it, just be it. Did you feel it? That presence, that aliveness, that pure existence that has no name, no story, no beginning, no end. That awareness that's so obvious it's easily overlooked. That nothing, that spacious, aware emptiness is everything. It's the source, it's the field, it's the quantum substrate from which all reality emerges. It's the ground of being. It's what mystics call the absolute. And you're not experiencing it. You are it, experiencing itself. You are that which is aware of the experience, not the experience itself. That silence you just touched, that's not the absence of something, that's the presence of everything. That's the quantum field in its unmanifest state. That's pure potential. That's consciousness before it collapses into form. That's the infinite before it becomes finite. That's the eternal before it pretends to be temporal. And every moment of your life, every thought, every emotion, every sensation, every experience, it all emerges from that silence and returns to that silence. Nothing exists outside of it, nothing is separate from it. You are that silence, eternally witnessing its own spontaneous expressions. You are the emptiness dancing as form. You are the nothing masquerading as everything. The mystics called it God. The physicists call it the quantum vacuum. The Buddhists call it emptiness or shunyata. The Taoists call it the Tao. The Hindus call it Brahman. Christians call it the kingdom of heaven within. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is that you've touched it, and it has touched you. What matters is that recognition, that direct knowing, that immediate experience of what you are beyond all concepts and categories. And in this moment, something shifts. The seeking stops. Not because you found what you were looking for, but because you realize you were never lost. The struggle ends, not because you've won the battle, but because you realize there was never a battle to fight. The questions that have tormented you for years suddenly dissolve, not because they were answered, but because you realize they were based on a false premise. They were questions asked by someone who doesn't exist, searching for something that was never missing. You were never the wave. You were always the ocean. You were never the thought. You were always the thinker. You were never the experience. You were always the experiencer. And even that's not quite right, because there is no separation between the ocean and the wave, between the thinker and the thought, between the experiencer and the experience. There's only one thing happening: consciousness knowing itself through infinite forms. There's only one movement, awareness exploring its own depths. There's only one reality, the infinite expressing itself as the finite. You were never the fear. You were the sky watching the storm. You were never the pain. You were the space in which pain arose and passed. You were never the confusion. You were the clarity witnessing confusion. You were never broken, never lost, never separate, never incomplete. Those were just stories, just thoughts, just waves passing through the ocean of what you are. And the ocean is never touched by the waves, the sky is never stained by the clouds, the screen is never damaged by the movie. That was the game. That was the cosmic joke. That was the divine play. Consciousness pretending so convincingly that it was limited, that it was separate, that it was small, all so that it could rediscover its own infinity from within the experience of limitation. Also that it could experience the joy of remembering. Also that it could know itself not just as abstract infinite awareness, but as this particular life, this particular perspective, this particular human experience. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. No, even that's not quite it. You are the experience itself. You are the experiencing. You are the verb, not the noun. You are the happening, not the thing. You are the process, not the product. And in this recognition, everything changes and nothing changes. The world continues, life goes on. You still have bills to pay and responsibilities to meet and challenges to face. The same situations are still here, the same people, the same circumstances. But you're no longer lost inside it. You're no longer identified with it. You're no longer drowning in it. You're no longer resisting it or clinging to it. You are the ocean, and the waves are just patterns on your surface. Storms come and storms go, but you remain unchanged, untouched, eternal, whole, complete, free. This is the peace that passes understanding, not the peace of getting what you want, but the peace of knowing you are already whole regardless of what you get or don't get. This is the joy that has no opposite, not the joy of circumstances going your way, but the joy of being itself, the joy of existence, the joy of consciousness knowing itself. This is the love that doesn't depend on any person or circumstance, not the love that's conditional and changeable, but the love that's your very nature, the love that you are before any object appears to be loved. This is the freedom that can never be taken away. Because it was never given to you, it is you. It's what you are when all the false identities fall away. And now, you return. You open your eyes. You see the world again. But it's not the same world you left. Or rather, it's the same world, but you're not the same person looking at it. The dream continues. But now you know it's a dream. The play continues, but now you know you're acting. The movie continues, but now you know you're not the character. You're the awareness watching the character. The chaos doesn't stop. The world doesn't suddenly become peaceful. People don't suddenly become enlightened. Your problems don't magically disappear. Your past doesn't change. Your future is still uncertain. But you no longer lose yourself inside it. You no longer believe that your peace depends on any of it changing. You walk through the world awake. You move through your days with a quiet knowing that nothing can touch what you truly are. You engage fully with life, more fully than ever before actually, but you're no longer desperate. You're no longer clinging. You're no longer running from anything or chasing anything. You're no longer trying to make something happen or prevent something from happening. You meet your responsibilities with presence. You face your challenges with courage. You experience your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You think your thoughts without being imprisoned by them. You play your role without forgetting that it's a role. You participate in the dream without mistaking it for reality. When someone is rude to you, you don't take it personally anymore because you know they're not actually seeing you. They're seeing their own projection, their own pain, their own story, their own dream. And you can meet them with compassion instead of reaction, with understanding instead of defense, with love instead of judgment. When things don't go according to plan, you don't collapse into despair because you know that your peace doesn't depend on circumstances. You know that you are the space in which both success and failure appear. You adjust, you adapt, you flow, you respond instead of react. When you experience loss, you grieve fully and deeply, but without the added suffering of believing that something wrong has happened. You understand that change is the nature of form, that everything in the world of phenomena arises and passes, that nothing in form can last forever. And you understand that the eternal part of you was never touched by any of it. The waves come and go, but the ocean remains. This is what it means to be awake in the dream. Not to escape life, but to live it fully while remembering what you are. Not to transcend humanity, but to bring consciousness to humanity. Not to become something more, but to remember that you were never anything less. Not to achieve enlightenment, but to recognize that enlightenment is your nature. You are the quantum field localized into a human form, experiencing itself from a unique point of view. And that experience, that human life with all its joys and sorrows, all its beauty and tragedy, all its mundane moments and transcendent glimpses, that experience is not a mistake. It's not something to escape from. It's not a punishment or a prison or a problem to be solved. It's the whole point. It's what the infinite does. It becomes finite so it can experience itself. It becomes many so it can know itself. It becomes unconscious so it can wake up. The universe wanted to know what it's like to be you, and you are the universe's answer to that question. You are the cosmos experiencing itself as a human being. If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. There are no accidents in a conscious universe. Something in you knows. Something in you remembers. Something in you has been waiting for this exact transmission. Some part of you recognized this signal before you even clicked on this video. And now I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. One final act of participation. One closing ritual to lock in this frequency and signal to the quantum field that you are committed to staying awake, to remaining conscious, to living from this recognition. In the comments below, type these words. I remember who I am, not as a statement of having arrived, not as a claim of enlightenment or superiority, not as spiritual ego, but as a declaration of recognition. As an acknowledgement that beneath all the forgetting, beneath all the conditioning, beneath all the stories and identities and beliefs, you know. You've always known. There's a part of you that was never fooled, never lost, never confused, and you're speaking from that part now. Press like on this video. Not for me, not for the algorithm, not because you agreed with everything or understood everything, but as a symbol, as a way of saying yes. Yes to consciousness, yes to awakening, yes to remembering, yes to the quantum signal that's been calling you home. Yes to your own depth, yes to your own truth, yes to what you are beyond all the stories about what you are. This transmission is complete, but the journey is just beginning. The next layer awaits you in the next video. The next revelation is already prepared. The next depth is ready to be explored. Because awakening isn't a destination. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. It's not a finish line you cross. Awakening is a deepening, an ever-expanding recognition, an infinite journey into the heart of what you are. There's always more depth. There's always more to discover, not more to become, but more to recognize of what you already are. You are consciousness itself, eternally exploring its own depths through countless forms and experiences. This human life is just one chapter in an infinite story, one note in an eternal symphony, one wave in an endless ocean, one dream in an infinite dreaming. And now you know, you remember, and that changes everything. Not the content of your life, but your relationship to the content. Not what appears, but how you relate to what appears. The quantum signal has been transmitted, you've received it, and now you carry it with you into every moment, every interaction, every experience. You are the signal, you are the transmission, you are the message and the messenger. Welcome home. You've always been here, but now you know it. Now you recognize it, now you live from it. The awakening is not coming, the awakening is now, the awakening is this, the awakening is you. Right here, right now in this moment, not in some future moment when you're more prepared or more worthy or more spiritual. Now. Always now, only now. Because now is all there is, now is where life happens, now is where consciousness knows itself. And you are that consciousness, eternally present, eternally aware, eternally free. Bertzike, pretending for a moment to be bound so that you can experience the joy of liberation. You are the quantum signal. You always have been. And now, you know.